What did you see that you definitely weren't X92T supposed to see? Was working at a hotel during college and saw my lab partner get a room with the professor. About 5 years old, woke up to the snow finally starting to melt. Noticed a girl, asleep, in the garden. Went and told my dad. He took one look and told me to go play in my room. Turns out girl had been asleep in our front garden for about 2 weeks, buried and frozen under the snow. Was fixing an elderly neighbor's laptop that had nudes of his wife on the desktop with the thumbnails at maximum size. It's like he wanted me to see them. I will say though, she had a bangin' bod for a woman in her 70s. I think it's safe to say he thought the same. My company's entire payroll on a spreadsheet. Someone left it on the printer. Use the info to get away past due raise. When I was a kid, I had to pull one of my ferrets out from under my parents' bed, and locked in his jaws was a bright red rubber dildo. My aunt sent a picture of her tits to my mom after she got them done. I happened to be the one using the phone when the message came through and opened it without expecting anything like that. I had a treehouse in my backyard. The neighbors behind us had a pool. I was 12, their daughters were 18 and had their boyfriends over. They ended up jumping topless into the pool while I was chilling in the treehouse reading. Naked men wrestling on my mom's laptop. Not gay porn, it was actual wrestling in a ring, just with their soft dicks out, when I was like 9. She later came out as a lesbian, so I'm not sure what that was about. Was working on a school project with some kid. Opened a folder where I thought we saved some of the videos for the project. It was nothing but his dad's bestiality porn. I'll never forget the look on that kid's face. His parents got a divorce like a month later, and he moved away. Saw a man crash his motorcycle into the back of a parked car. He flipped over the car, hitting his head on the pavement and dying on scene. Firefighters showed up and sprayed his brains and blood down the storm drain. Later found out it was a girl's father who I went to middle school with. I was 12. HR at my last job accidentally sent out a list of everyone's home address, phone number, email, and if they were coming back after the layoff. My uncle injecting my dad with heroin. My grandparents were both a bit deaf. I was downstairs prepping dinner and called out to them. No response. I placed their plates on a tray instead and walked upstairs to their room, their door half open. Saw my fully naked grandma riding my fully naked grandpa like they have no aches and pains. It's weird. Like normally they do everything in slow-mo. Apparently not. My mom's phone got a notification while it was charging. Curious, I just checked to see what it was. It was a text message from some guy saying, "I'm going to have your pussy for breakfast." I've never checked her phone since. My brother opened his Google Chrome in front of me and I saw Hentai Haven in the most visited section under the search bar. When I was 18, I was pulling an all-nighter trying to finish an English project when I decided to take a break and grab a can of Coke from the kitchen. While walking there, I passed the living room and saw my father screwing his friend's wife on the couch. I turned right the flock around and decided tap water from the bathroom would suffice. My neighbor was granted to her room and my buddy and I were in my backyard and talking to her through her window. We were going to try and get her attention, but we realized her mom was in the living room masturbating while human bones in the bottom of a cenote in the Yucatan of Mexico. Dad told me to STFU and not swim in that area anymore. A photo clearly intended for my mom of my dad naked with a few of his friends all holding paper in front of their dicks that had happy birthday name on them respectively. I was helping my grandma with dementia walk to the toilet. I got her situated and turned around to give her some privacy to do her business. I hear her giggling, turn back around and she has her shirt off and was tapping her saggy boobs so they flopped back and forth. A collection of child porn and bestiality images from the dark web that someone was trying to publish as a book on Amazon. I think the owner thought that if they didn't include any sexual keywords in the book metadata, the reviewers wouldn't notice it. ETA. I used to lead work on the book review team. A BDSM porn video starring a girl who I went to high school with who had recently graduated. I don't know who originally found it or how, but once they did, a lot of people around school ended seeing it. Bizarro Walk Street, a music and comic shop in Athens, has lots of storage boxes all over the place. During one visit, I opened one and found a message the staff put inside: "Stop being a nosy little turd." I could help but laugh. My Spanish teacher with my geography teacher in underwear in an empty classroom. My mom and stepdad's duffel bag of sex toys and German porn VHS tapes. My manager finger blasting the older cashier in the canned goods pantry. Edit to clarify, this was a bowling alley. I was a cook and had already closed and cleaned, but after I had clocked out and gone to my car, I forgot I was told I could take the leftover Martinelli's apple cider from our New Year's Eve bash earlier that week. Walked in to grab it and there they were. When I was 11, I saw another kid shit in a urinal, and after he was done he saw me staring at him and literally pissed his pants. Close-up photo of, probably, my dad's asshole while I was scrolling through his iCloud photos looking for a different picture. I think it had something to do with his upcoming rectal exam. Nothing was wrong with it visually, but the realization of what I was looking at was absolutely horrifying. Part of my soul shriveled up and died. My sister discovered that someone had searched pregnant erect nipples on the home computer. My dad and I both denied it, and we were the only two males in the house. It wasn't me. A Craigslist ad opened on my father's laptop explaining that he's an excellent cocksucker. Pretended I never even saw that, hoping I would forget. Almost didn't post it here for the same reason. When I was 6, I didn't know how to spell soccer, but I wanted to learn how to play. When I got home, I went on the computer and tried to go to soccer.com. Huge porn site at the time. My mom's attempted suicide. I was supposed to be at track practice but skipped and caught the bus home. I walked in on my mom face down at her desk with pills and alcohol scattered around her. Got home from school, walked upstairs to my room and looked in my sister's room. Her boyfriend was laying on the bed with her laying on top of him. She had no shirt on and he was cupping her boobs. They both just turned their heads to look at me and I went, oh, and turned to my room. My grandpa sleeping sitting straight up with a remote control balanced on his head. I once saw my Christmas presents early. I was sitting on a futon watching TV in my dorm room next to my buddy. He was snapping his GF and I look over and he just opened up a pic of her vajayjay she sent him out of the blue. I turn away instantly. He peeks over at me and I say, man, this show crazy. I think I fooled him. My dad sucking on my mom's titty. I was 28. My friend writing in his scholarship essay about how he needed assistance more than ever, since he was diagnosed with HIV. I never told a soul. It's been my best kept secret since. A big pile of blow, like fist-sized, on the counter in the men's room at a corporate Christmas party. I saw Craigslist emails in my friend's email account when helping him recover his Pokemon Go account once. It was a response to an M4 meters ad. I never said anything about it because I know he isn't gay, but he's definitely bisexual and in the closet with it. When I was in high school, I saw one of my best friend's mom naked. She hadn't expected us to arrive home, so she took a bath and left the door ajar. I was desperate to pee, so I went barging into the bathroom just as she was stepping out of the tub and stretching to reach a towel rack. I was terribly embarrassed and apologetic, but not entirely sorry. It was in 1969. 10 years old living out in the country in Ney, Ohio. I was out in the backyard and heard tires screech and then a loud crash. Went in the house and told my mom to call the ambulance and I ran out and down the road a couple hundred yards to where the car crashed into a telephone pole. The guy's head was laying in the ditch. Rest of his body still in the car, mostly. Walked in on my boss snorting a line of coke off a T-bone steak. Crossing the street on Poplar in Memphis, those of you that know it, right near the homeless shelter. Old man crossing the street up a bit gets hit by a car. When he lands his skull just sort of opens up. His brains landed about 100 feet away from me on the pavement. He did not make it. The insides of my partner's abdomen during a C-section. I was told, Don, T look over the divider, and did anyhow. I was mortified for days. Don, T look over the divider. My mother on FaceTime with her boyfriend on her bed with her magic wand. Also my mother's porn stash. Oh, and my mother's dildo drawer. I walked in on my sister taking nudes. I wanted to put bleach on my eyes at it. Thanks for the upvotes and awards, kind strangers. I didn't see nothing. Mom's vibrator. S. Help also some sex tapes of my friend's dad and his girlfriend. Oh, and what makes it worse is they used my friend's trident, a toy that he used frequently in the childish fighting game we used to play, as both a dildo and like a wooden spoon. We both saw this as young children scrolling through the smart TV's files looking for a movie. Pics of my mother giving a BJ to her drug dealer and screenshots of the conversation explaining my stepfather is a cuck. My grandmother's vagina when my mom and I were lifting her onto her wheelchair after she attempted suicide. Was looking for a video I shot on vacation on my dad's phone. Found my stepmom's nudes in the process. Why is my most liked Reddit comment about seeing my stepmom's tits? I flocking hate this app, man. I once witnessed the aftermath of cement factory explosion. The workers who survived had server burns, like they were skinned alive. I saw them waiting for the ambulance on my way school. It was 5 years ago. I still can remember everything I saw vividly. Looking through my dad's photos for pictures of my cat, saw one of his girlfriend's boobs instead. Never again. Walked in on my dad eating my mom's box on his office desk. It was bullshit. It was a Sunday. I'd gone for a nap, woke up. Everything was quiet and no one seemed to be around. I grabbed a snack and went to play some StarCraft and POW. 12-year-old me walked in on that. Edit. Can confirm. Not glamorous. This may be a bit different, but I was a little kid and watched the Challenger accident from my yard just outside Cape Canaveral. It never should have happened in the first place and was entirely preventable, but that's another story. No one should have seen that, let alone a child. Slept over a friend's house. Woke up to get water. Friend's 400 pounds naked mother camming to a group of people on the internet in an early 2000s Skype sesh. I did not need the water that badly. I, 18 at the time, saw my childhood best friend's dad smoke crack. He didn't care that I was right there, even said, don't tell best friend. I've been watching these two baby doves come into the world, from eggs laid to leaving the nest for the past few weeks on my porch. Today they finally left my porch entirely. I looked outside and noticed two crows chasing something small. I immediately ran outside to try to chase them away, but found one of the baby doves pecked to death in a feathery explosion in a bush. Walking back from the store taking my usual shortcut, I saw a guy getting blown by the dumpster behind the abandoned mattress store. This isn't seeing, but it's still awful. I heard my parents having sex in the shower and I'm pretty sure that's how my little brother was conceived. My neighbor getting railed pressed against her apartment window. She had massive tits and they were squished against the glass. I stared for a while before moving on. Parents having sex.